Hi, this is Tanya Sheridan. I'm a consultant with Close to My Heart, and today for my Mega Make and Take presentation, I'm going to present to you Loving Glitter Mediums with My Whole Heart. So Close to My Heart has a wealth of glitter in all sorts of different mediums, and we're going to explore those today. But before we get started, I wanted to share with you my show specials so you can keep that in the back of your mind and maybe make a note if something that I talk about is something you want to look at more in-depthly, or if you'd like to order for your own supplies. So if you purchase a $50 in supplies, then you may choose a free pack of our glitter paper. Now our glitter paper comes 3 sheets in a pack. It is very durable. It works excellent on the Cricut as well as with your die cutting machines, which you're going to see both of those today. It also has a very fine finish. So you notice that when I rub it, I don't get hardly any glitter on my hands. So that is wonderful. So that is my special for spending $50. If you up that and you make a $100 purchase, then you're going to receive a free You Make Me Happy embellishment bundle. And so what that is it's going to include the embellishments that I'm featuring today. So you will have your Blue Belle loose sequins, as well as your Blue Belle glitter gems, these beautiful white embellishments that I'm going to show you a couple of fun ways to use, and then a pack of our paper. So you can choose the Blue Belle glitter paper, which is our color of the year and what I'm featuring today, or the Sapphire, which I'm complementing the Blue Belle with, or any other of the glitter papers in our color palette for that combination. Now, to take advantage of these, you'll go to www.inallsassiness.com. That's www.inallsassiness.com, and that's going to take you to a landing page. So from that landing page, you can go and shop on my Close to My Heart website, or you can shop in my In All Sassiness design shop, which is where you're going to find my custom specials, as well as a 25% off retired items section and all of my custom class kits. So both places have a wealth of wonderful products for you. I encourage you to check them out. To qualify for these, you may make your purchase on either site, or you can do a combination of the two. Whatever works best for you, okay? So I also have this wonderful Joy of the Season workshop box that I'm going to talk about a little bit later, and a VIP program that you can check out as well. So let's get started. I've told you a little bit about the colors of the year, or the color of the year, and it's complementing Sapphire. I'm using those today. They absolutely are gorgeous together, and I'm going to show you some other projects at the end of my presentation that also use these same colors. So if you have it in your mind and you love it, I'll give you some other ways to create with those. So we're going to start out with a blank piece of paper. So in your kits for your project, you have 2 pieces of white daisy cardstock that have been splattered for you. And so I splattered them for you so that it would make it easy, but I wanted to show you how I actually did that and how I accomplished that look. So these are our shimmer brushes. They come individually wrapped. This is the Sapphire color. It is available in the Blue Belle, as well as lots and lots of different colors. But for this project, I'm using the Sapphire. If you wanted to add some extra shimmer later, I would recommend the Blue Belle or the clear. Either one is going to complement this project nicely. So when you open our shimmer brushes, they look like this. And you'll notice that there is a yellow piece, a fluorescent piece. Now, if you have a color that's been around for a while, it might be a little bit of a different shade of yellow, more muted, but it's this piece here, and you're going to pull that off and just discard it, okay? So then you're going to screw your brush back together, and you're going to slightly shake it. Now, when you open it, you want to pull, not push. If you push, you're going to squeeze the liquid, and you don't want that to happen. So I'm just simply going to pull. Now, what I always do is the brush is stiff at the first. So I take my fingers before the ink is in the well, and I just soften that up a little bit, okay? So you can shake it. Now this is just a piece of paper, but I'm gonna use it as a scrap. I would typically do it maybe on a couple Post-it notes. So we'll put those up there. And I'm gonna shake it, and then I'm gonna squeeze just a little bit at a time, and I'm gonna brush until the ink comes down the barrel. Now I know that there's a lot of different shimmer brushes on the market. I tend to gravitate towards ours because I love the fact that our colors coordinate and match with our color palettes. And sometimes you have to do it a little bit. You can see the ink is starting to come down. There we go. and I just want a little bit of a bubble, okay? So then what you're gonna do, and you can do it two ways. You can use your finger or you can use the lid. I typically use my finger because I have more control, but if I'm doing a lot, so for example, for this project, we did, goodness, 1,300 sheets. So we had a lot and our fingers were getting a little bruised, so we used the lid. But typically I have more control if I use my finger. And you're just going to simply tap it. And when you tap it, you will notice that the shimmer comes out. Now, you're most likely gonna get some bigger bubbles, or bigger splotches, and then some more narrow ones, and that's okay. No two pieces are gonna look alike, okay? But depending on how heavy you want is how much you want to move your pen around, okay? So that's one way that you can accomplish this if you want to do as I have done on all of your kits and do the entire piece. Now, if you wanted to concentrate on a specific space, what you're gonna do, or the best way that I found to do it, is to use your handy dandy Post-it notes. I think that they are a scrapbooker's best friend. I always ask for them in my stocking because they just have so many purposes and uses. The sticky part is going to keep the glitter from getting underneath, okay? And it's going to designate your space. So I'm just going to cover that whole space where I don't want it to go and do this as a concentrated space. So maybe here's the top of my photograph and this is an embellishment cluster and I want it just behind the embellishment cluster, okay? So then I'm going to go ahead and tap it again. And again, however heavy is up to you, however much you want to do it. I tend to get it heavier if I'm closer. If I'm higher up, you have a bigger chance of it spreading, but it does come out more of a mist, okay? So I'm gonna do it just like that. I'm gonna slide my brush aside, and then I'm gonna carefully remove my Post-it notes. And when I do so, you will notice that the shimmer is now in a very concentrated area. So where before, or just like your papers that you have, it covers the entire base, this is a more concentrated space. So those are two things that you can do for the splattering to get completely different effects on your project. Okay, so I'm gonna move this paper out of our way. And another thing too, just to keep in the back of your mind if you're doing splattering. So I said to you that we did like 1,200 sheets. So it actually ended up being probably 1,250, 1,300 because we made some oopsies. You know, you can't always control the glitter, the shimmer. So what I do is I just save my discards and use those for backgrounds on cards or that type of thing. Maybe the splattering came down too heavy or it's smeared or whatever the case may be. So keep that in your mind because there's always a creative opportunity or possibility. So I'm going to pull off these off of my layout and you're going to see the layout that we're going to be creating together today. And I'm going to walk you step by step through this entire project, okay? But the one thing that I wanted to show you before we start creating is if you notice over here on the left page that you will see these fun little clear plastic flip flaps. Now these are not in your kit. You can add them. I do have them as a special in my shop for you. But they are a wonderful way to enhance your layout and add more photographs. So I tend to like the artsy style in a lot of my layouts. Sometimes I like lots of photographs. It just kind of depends. But I know my local customers, they tend to not like to use the 2x2s unless they have flip flaps because then that gives you lots more opportunities. So this turns one photograph into 3. So you have 3, 6, and 9, and they come in standard sizes, so they do work well with the 2x2s. Now, one thing that you won't notice on here is that these do go on top of your page protector. I didn't slide the layout into the page protector because there's too much of a glare from the light, but I wanted to show you how easily that you could add those on if you wanted to add extra photographs. Now over on this side, we have 3x4 photographs is the main size. And those we do have flip flaps for. However, because all of the embellishments overlap some of the photographs, if you were to put the flip flaps on top, you would cover so many of those embellishments. So truly, if you were gonna add flip flaps, I know a lot of you have them in your stashes at home, I would probably focus more on the left side. So with that being said, I am going to slide this out of the camera and we're going to pull out our kits. So So this is what your kit from me should look like. It's in a 12 by 12 clear bag. And you're gonna pull out your kit. And we're gonna talk through the pieces before we actually get started, so that make sure you know what you're looking for. Okay, so first of all, you have a photograph. And I like to include these in all of my kits because it is a true color of the photos or of the layout itself. Quite often, if you're looking at something on a computer screen or on a video or something like that, you don't get the true colors, and it makes it a little bit tricky when you're trying to match up pieces and build the project. So any of my class kits that you purchase always include a color, true life color photo. At the bottom, you'll notice that I have my coupon codes for my specials. So I wanted to make sure that you didn't lose those and you had those readily available if you opted to take advantage of those. So I'm going to pull that aside. You should have 2 bags. One you will notice has a green side. This is a snack size bag, and then there's a clear square one. So I'll be referring to the green one as the green one and the square one as well. And those all have pieces that we're going to use, and we're going to walk through those in a second. Then you should have 2 pieces of splattered paper. You're going to have a grid that is like a tic-tac-toe board that is out of the sapphire, and then you're going to have this piece that's a photo mat out of the Belle, okay? Now, this one makes a difference if it is on the dark or the light side. Now, all of our cardstock comes with a natural color, or the true color, which is the dark side, and then a lighter variation. But because we're adding pieces to this, you want to make sure that the orientation and you're on the correct side. For this guy, you want to make sure that the heart at the top is towards the left. And so that will give you the best vantage point and match up all of your hearts on that one, okay? So I'm going to actually slide the right page off for the moment, and we're going to focus on the left page, and we're going to pull out our 2 bags. So from the bag with the green, you're going to simply open that up. And there's lots and lots of little pieces, so you want to make sure that you keep those separated. And you should have 6 squares out of the Belle paper. Now, I will tell you in advance that I don't think you will ever find a layout kit that was designed and packaged with as much love as this kit was. There are lots and lots of pieces, all hand cut or Cricut cut. Some of them are very fragile. So if you find that you are attaching a layout or a piece to your layout and you tear it by mistake, don't worry about it. No worries, okay? My email address is the same as my website. So it's inallsassiness@gmail.com. That's inallsassiness@gmail.com. If you want to take a note of that, it should also be on your instructions. But if you do find that you tear a piece or you need a replacement piece, just simply send me an email and I'll drop it into the mail to you. No worries, okay? All right, so we're gonna have these pieces, and I'm gonna keep my other Versamat up here so that I can adhere it better and not wiggle. I'm just gonna slide it off so that this is a little bit more centered. Okay, so this square bag is predominantly for this side. And this is where you're gonna find your embellishments and all of your glitter. So we're gonna just simply empty that out. I would put it on a surface where you don't lose the little pieces because like I said, there are a lot of pieces involved. So you should have 2 bags of embellishments, one of loose sequins and one of the gems and the flowers, and we can just kind of put those aside. We're gonna do those at the very end just to make life easier. And of your other pieces, what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull out your big hearts that are all glitter based and your big circles. So they should be in both colors, both the Belle and the sapphire. And they might be a little tangled. That's why I said to be super, super careful because they do very easily tangle. I use a storage container like this one for my little pieces quite often. That way they don't jump on my table when I'm putting pressure down, etc. And I'm just gonna put the rest of these little hearts, and I will talk you through those, so don't get overwhelmed when you see the different sizes of the hearts, no worries. And I'm just gonna set those over here. Okay, so we pulled out all of the hearts and circles. I'm gonna now move those over. Right here. Okay, And then we have these squares. And then you also want to pull out your little thread, which is a sapphire, just a really thin embellishing thread. So I'm going to set that right there for now. Okay, so these guys, 2 of them are stamped, and that is what's important for you to know. One says you and one says are my favorite part of me. Now, if you don't want to use those, no worries, just flip them to the back. You can also, with the rest of them, you can decide if you want the light side or the dark side, or if you want to mix them up. So I gave you that option. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is position your grid where you want it to be positioned. So if you want it to be at an angle, you could do that. If you want it to be at that angle, you could do that. Whatever makes you happy, okay? So I am going to flip mine, and I am just going to put one little dab of adhesive just to kind of hold it into place so I'm not moving it as much. I'm going to set it down just like that, okay? So then what we're going to do is we're going to add these pieces. And so the first one I'm going to do is going to be the word you. And I am using the Close to My Heart adhesive runner. I like that one. It looks like this because it is a throwaway, but it goes on kind of repositionable, I guess is the right word for it, and then it becomes permanent over time. So it gives you a little bit more wiggle room. So this first one, I am going to center horizontally between the grid, which just slid a little bit, and it's about 1/8 of an inch, I would say, below the grid there, and that is where that piece is going to be, okay? So then the second one is going to be the one that says, are my favorite part of me. So it's a continuation of this phrase, and I want to slide it under so that you can see that whole part of the phrase. Now you can be in charge of how high you want it and how low you want it, where you want that sentiment to be in the circle. But I just put mine about there. And then the other ones, we're going to continue with the light side. Again, never hurts my feelings if you switch it up. I'm going to hold my grid down, and I'm going to slide this one under. And this one is about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch from the right side of this and above this. Now I'm trying to balance it just a little bit. I would like it to be pretty close to even with this bottom one, okay? So this one here is left blank. We're not doing anything there with the paper. We're going to continue and add the next piece. Again, I'm going to hold it down. Now this one is not centered, so it's maybe 1/4 of an inch. It has a little bit of a margin on the left, but a much bigger margin on the right. Now for this one, I'm not going to press down. I'm going to loosen that up a little bit at the top because we're going to tuck something underneath it. Okay, so for the next square, I have found it easier to go into your little pieces, and you should have 2 pennants that look just like that. Hopefully you can see that zoomed in on the camera. And so I found that it was easier to go ahead and line it up before I glued that piece down. So it is simply just going to go in the top corner, just like that, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and glue the whole thing down. That way you're not trying to line it up exactly once it's down. It seems to me that it's easier. You can of course do it another way if it works for you. This one is going to kind of come down towards the corner. So again, about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch, depending on your preference, to the left of this and then right above that one. And then the last one, I always have to double check my colors there because under the bright lights it's a little bit trickier to see. This one is going to come down, and there is going to be a wider gap underneath it. So it's about even with this one up here as far as to the left of the grid, but you're leaving that white space there, okay? So that is how that grid, those grid pieces are going to be. We are then going to pull this off carefully, and I'm going to slide this one out of the way because we're going to work on this grid independently. Okay, so now we're going to attach the hearts and the circles. The first one you want to look for is the Bluebell circle, and you're going to take that really fine embellishing thread, And I gave you extra, so you should be okay. But I like to tie mine from an end and not cut it at first, which gives me more wiggle room. If I cut my thread personally to fit the first time, I always end up with so much excess that I don't necessarily need. So this way works for me. You can decide how long you want your tails. I think I'm going to do a little bit longer tail on this one than I did on my original. Okay, so I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. I'm going to flip it over to the back. And I'm going to attach it right over this circle. Now my tie is a little bit, it's up here. So it's a little bit, I would say maybe the right diagonal of the curvature is where I'm putting mine. Now for the rest of them, you can decide if you want them flat like this one or if you want them popped up. That's really just a preference, personal preference. The solid one is going to go in the center. So I'm going to do that one flat. And then on top of that one, I'm going to put, so this was the Bluebell. I'm going to put the sapphire. And so with the sapphire, what I want to do is, because we are attaching to glitter, I'm actually going to use glue dots. And these are not, oops, it looks like I'm running out. These are not the micro. These are just the regular mini ones. And that seems to work really well. You could also use, you'll notice I just used a few, not a lot, because they hold down really tight. But you could also use a liquid glass or a liquid glue. Either of those work really well. I tend to prefer the glue dots, especially when I'm doing demonstrations, because they dry so much faster, okay? So up in the upper right-hand corner, we're gonna go back to there. We're gonna put a Bluebell. Now, again, you can mix these up. It will absolutely not hurt my feelings. I am going to use foam dots for this one, and I'm using the little dots. So Close to My Heart has two different styles of foam tape and two different thicknesses. So we have a thin and we have a 3D, which I call thick or regular. They are the same size, but the 3D is higher than the thin, okay? So we also have two sizes of the regular rolled tape, and it's the thin and the 3D. And what I like the most about Close to My Hearts is that whether you use dots or whether you use the rolls, if you were using thin, it's all the same height. So I can go back and forth between dots and the stripped rolls. And it's not going to mountain and valley, it's all going to be flat. So that's something that I like for my personal taste. Of course, everybody is very different. So I'm gonna pull off these pieces. Again, if you want it to be flat, if you don't care for the 3D look, that is totally fine. You can put this on flat. And once I have that, I'm just gonna line it up on that heart and press it down just like that, okay? So now in this bottom corner, we are going to use the Sapphire Circle. I love how these colors partner and enhance one another. They're just gorgeous together. And that one is gonna go flat. Okay, so then we have this one down here. And because I popped this one up, I am going to choose to pop this one up down here. So I'm gonna use those foam tape again. And like I said, you really don't need a lot. You just don't want it to do mountain and valleys. You want it to be flat. And the other thing is when you're adhering them, even if you take and put foam tape all the way around, you don't necessarily have to take all of the film off because you're using it for support. Now that is a personal preference. I tend to still pull all the film off, but not everybody does, and that's okay. That's totally up to you. I just wanted to tell you that as an option, that you don't necessarily have to take the time to pull all the films off. To me, it's kind of therapeutic. My cat loves to play with the pieces that fall to the floor. Okay, so we're gonna line this one up just like that. Okay, so now the main part of our grid is done. So I'm going to slide this one off to the side and bring back up our base. Okay, so you remember we have that little piece that's kind of floating up in La La Land. Now we're going to flip this guy over. It might be a little sticky. I'm just going to take my runner. You don't have to hit every edge. I do tend to hit the edges of the grid, the pieces that stand out the most. Now the heart, we still have adhesive on, so that one's good, that center heart. Oops. But I don't want the grid as a whole to pop up. Okay, so that's about my coverage. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's not fully covered, but it works. It's just enough. Okay, so now we're going to strategically try to put this back about where we had it. Again, this is one of the reasons that I love, love, love our tape, because it gives me some wiggle room. Okay. I noticed that there is something caught. There we go. Now you can see here on mine that I got my tape in too far. So you can simply just take your scissors and trim that down, and it should be all good. Okay, so this is the foundation of where we're at. Okay, so then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out these, we call them photo placemats. These could be your photos. And I'm just pulling these out because I want you to see where I'm placing them and some of the different things that I'm doing with them. They're just a little thin piece of paper that says the photo size on it. But this one, I've already told you, is going to be 2x2 photos, right? So I'm going to cut 2 little pieces. I tend to just leave these down. So you could cut white cardstock or what have you if you don't have your photo with you. And I'm simply going to remove the film and put it in this top section. Now it overlaps, it lines up on the edge here, but it overlaps the top some. So it's gonna go just about like that, okay? So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back with my thread, and I'm gonna use the adhesive that's already there and tuck it all the way across. And I'm gonna trim it to fit. Then I'm going to pull up this corner over here. Now I can still slide my photo very easily onto this mat and slide it under the thread. But if you wanted to wait to do that element, you certainly could wait. There's no harm, no foul. Okay, so then we're going to kind of work this way. So the next piece that I want you to find is the arrow. And there's 2 arrows. One is solid sapphire and one is glitter bluebell. We want the solid one, and we are going to adhere that one flat. You may choose which side, totally up to you, if you want the dark or the light. And I'm going to do it down here, but the tail is extending off, okay? So then I want to find the little blue sapphire outline of the heart, and there should be a bluebell glitter heart that is about the same size but filled in. And so we're going to attach those to each other. And I am going to use my glue runner because I ran out of my glue dots, but I would recommend using glue dots if you have that option. Okay, so it's going to be put together just like that. So then this one I think is very enhanced if you put it up on foam tape. So I'm going to use the wider circle and just put that behind it. And I'm going to pop it up right up on top of that arrow, just like that, okay? So then I'm going to come down and I have another 2x2 photo. And all of my photos on the left page, I did pop up on foam. So I'm going to put that foam tape on. Typically 2 to 3 pieces because you want it, again, you don't want it to do mountains and valleys, okay? So then this one I'm going to put up towards the top. Remove that tape. And it's gonna go just like this. Now you can overlap that if you want, or you can put it right to the top, however you want. It's your layout, okay? So then working downward on this one here, I'm gonna use that same outline, which looks like this, okay? It's sapphire, and I'm gonna put it in the center. Now, all of these hearts I did do in Cricut. So if you would like the file to my hearts, you are welcome to send me an email. Again, it's 𝐂𝐸𝐵𝐷𝐷𝐿sassiness@gmail.com, and I can send you the files. You might have to have some of the cartridges, just depending. I'm not sure if they were all close to my heart or not. I can't remember. But if you would like that as an option, then you can certainly do that. And then we're going to do one more of our photo mats down in the corner. And again, we're going to use those 3 pieces just so that it's covered. We're going to pull the film just like that. Now this one I have dropped down quite significantly. So it is about right there. And again, if you were doing your photos, I would just attach it directly to your placeholder if you're using a placeholder. So then in this space here, you're going to use a Bluebell small heart, okay? And so that is going to go right underneath the U. And then we are actually going to use these guys, which are our sequins. And what I tend to do is I keep mine in a jar. There are craft jars that we sell, but I tend to use the lid so I don't spill them. And then I can kind of pick through them and find the ones that really jump out to me, okay? So I'm actually going to use my glue and just do 3 little dots, because I want to do 3 little dots continuing my word, and then you can choose which ones that you want. I think I used, whoops, let's move that one down. I think that one would be better here. I used the medium sized. So I'm going to simply pull this one off and slide it down here. Now you will want to allow time for this glue to dry. Okay, so just make sure that you remember that. I do think that glue dots are easier. I think that they give you much more room to work. Okay, so those are 2 small ones. The only problem with the ones this size is that I guess maybe use the micro. I don't tend to get those. I tend to get the mini. But the glue dot sometimes extends it. Okay, so I have 3 that kind of continue. So then you have 2 bags. Again, the Bluebell sequins, but this one has some of your gems. And so I gave you 3 large and 3 small, and then the flowers. And so I just kind of balance them between the 2 pages. You can put them wherever you want. You can add a lot more sequins. I gave you a lot more than what I actually used on the layout. But I'm putting a large gem down here in this corner. Okay. I'm going to put a small one. Let me move this out of your vantage viewpoint. Small one up there. And then I'm putting another small one off to the side over here. Okay. Now, for these little guys, these are the flowers. Okay. So they already have a glue dot on them. You could reinforce it with additional glue if you wanted to. That would work very easily. We're going to do just one, I think just one flower. Oh, no, there's 2. There's another one up here for that one. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these sequins, and I just kind of position them randomly. Now, you can do these at the very end if you want to see how your layout works. I did tend to, you just saw me switch fingers, I'm tending to not use the white ones because they're more of an ivory white, and I felt like they kind of got lost on this layout. So there's another one there. And again, you can put them wherever you'd like. You can do a lot more than what I have. I just wanted to kind of give you the foundation of what I did with mine. And then you can take it from there. Oops, that's a white one that I said I wasn't going to use. The white ones just seem to really, really get lost. I love the metallic ones for this layout. I think that that one is by far, those are by far my favorite. Okay, so we have one here. We're going to have a cluster of 3 up there. So let's pull out a few more. And you can do them however you want. Again, I think the dark metallic one is my favorite for this, but they all look pretty. There's 2 here, there's 2 there, there's a flower there, there's a flower here, there's 3 continuing the phrase down here, 1 there, and 1 there, okay? So now we're gonna go back a step. I'm gonna leave all these little embellishments here, and up here we have some more hearts. So there is a small heart that is sapphire, and there is a large heart, and I think that there is one more hiding in here. I can pick it up. Okay. So these you could also pop up on foam if you wanted to. The big heart of the smaller ones is going to go in this guy. Oops, nope, I did that wrong. I'm sorry. That's a small heart. He's going to go in there. Then the other smaller heart, which I dropped mine. There we go. Is going to go up here. The bigger heart is going to go on the outside, and we're going to save this one for the other page, okay? So you have a little one there, a big one there, and a little one there, okay? So then that basically completes this page. But if you would like, one thing that I love to do to give the finishing touch to my flowers as well as my sequins is I use the Diamond Clear Stickles by Ranger. And I like to come and just do a little dot in the center of the sequins. Now, it doesn't look like much now, but when it dries, it just totally enhances, I think, the appearance. Especially with the iridescent ones. It just really, really grabs you and adds so much more fun. Now, if you wanted to, and you have Stickles, not everyone does, and that's okay, you could also come back and just add some tiny little dots elsewhere on your layout, just to kind of pull together. Again, that's totally optional, but that is something that you could do. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide this piece up to the top, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna do the second page. Okay, so we've pretty much got all the technique down, right? We've done most of those on the other page. So this piece I'm going to glue down, and I'm going to position it about right there, just kind of depending. There's a little nick where it cut, but don't worry about that because it covers it. So it's not a big deal at all. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to pull these 2 borders, and again, you can use the dark side or the light side. I always feel like I'm in Star Wars when I say that. And you're going to simply lift it up a little bit if you desire. I like the shorter scallops, and tuck it, okay? So then we're going to do the same thing for the other side. We're going to do the scallop, and we're going to tuck it just like that. Okay, now for this one, a couple tricky things. First of all, you're going to put your photo down, or your pretend photo, before your heart. So that's going to go here, and then the other one is going to go right beside it. Actually, you're going to do it backwards. See, it's so wonderful that my tape lets me pull it up. Okay. So it's up to you about what angle you want. I have mine kind of angled some because I liked the way that that looked, okay? So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull out your big hearts. Now for these, I'm going to do the Bluebell one flat. And again, it goes just over where we had it. You also have a smaller Bluebell heart that's gonna go down here. I'm going to put my adhesive on it and lay it just like that, okay? Now, this one I chose to pop up. Again, it's a choice whether you want it to, but I felt like it gave some depth up there in that section, and I liked the way that that looked. So I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to pull the film off, just like this, and attach it. Now, if you don't have your photos down, then don't add adhesive here, and you can just lift it up and add your photo and then lift it down, okay? So then the next thing we're going to do is you're going to take your second glitter arrow, and you're going to take your leftover thread, and you're going to wrap it. Now, whether you choose to do this on foam or not is up to you. I'm just going to do the two ends on the foam to secure it, just like that. I'm going to pull off one piece of the film. I'm going to attach my thread there, okay? And then I am just going to simply wrap it around, and I am going to attach it here. Now, you could get the exact same look with using a glue dot if you wanted to do your arrow flat, no worries. Oops, I can't get it to pull there. Okay, so if you've got an extra little tail like mine that wants to fray, then just fold that back over and attach it to the glue dot, okay? That is gonna go anywhere in this general area that you want it to go, okay? Just like that. Okay, so now we're gonna go and move towards this bag with the green edge. And you wanna be very careful when you pull this out because this one has lots of pieces. And I love this. This is a thin cut. And again, that'll be one of the specials that I have in my shop. But it is a thin cut that cuts out this beautiful, beautiful sentiment. And it comes in several pieces. And again, it is very fragile. So if you find that when you're attaching your adhesive, you tear it, no worries. My email is inallsassiness@gmail.com. Just let me know and I will send you another piece. But the glitter paper is pretty sturdy. It holds up. So I glued the major piece down first. So you'll notice that one piece is much, much bigger than the others. And that's what I glued down first. And then there is this piece that has the H and the heart. So you can kind of line that one up right here. You can see the heart there. So that's an easy point to notice. Then I did this heart that is the OU. Let's see how my trimmer or my adhesive runner kind of caught it. That's what I was saying. If it happens to tear, let me know. Okay, so you have those main pieces. So I tried to pull out the easy pieces first so that my spacing didn't get off, okay? This is an O and an E, and it goes right down there under whole heart. And then I have the W for the width. I'm just gonna slide in. You can kind of see the little bumps if you look really closely. That helps you line it up. Okay. I'm going to do my W, which is right there. And then you basically have to do love, L-O-V-E. So I did the V first so that I could just make sure that I spaced it correctly. And then the O, and then finally the L. So I know it looks like it's lots of pieces, and it is. I really thought when I first ordered this that it would stamp or it would cut out as one big piece. So imagine my surprise when it did lots of little pieces. But when we cut them, we were very careful to make sure that we cut them one at a time so that all of the little letters would go together. Now I want this whole thing to pop up. So I'm gonna be a little bit graceful with, with my foam tape. I want to be plentiful, I guess is a better word than graceful. I'll pull that one off. Okay, I'm gonna remove the film. Now, if you want this piece to be flat, that's perfectly fine. Again, it never hurts my feelings if you alter. I love the way that this balances. I think it just really, really adds. Now, if you are tight, like I'm tighter than my other one, you can either go over or under that heart. And if you notice, it's just a little bit at an angle, okay? So then this piece, love it. It is so beautiful, so much fun, and it comes from a stamp set and a thin cut set. So you can buy the stamp set by itself if you don't do thin cuts, but I think that all of the stamps just partner so well with this bracket thin cut. And if you notice, if you look closely, there is a gorgeous, gorgeous stitched border. And I think that that just adds to it. And I'm going to show you that stamp in just a second. So this one, we're just going to angle however you want over the heart. This is what the stamp set looks like. So it has all of these different images. And then where you see the blue is where the thin cuts go. So it has, you know, with all my heart, dream big, this is us, just lots of really fun sentiments that could be used for a scrapbook or for your cards. Okay, so this guy is my banner, and I'm gonna flip him. This was cut on the Cricut, so you can see how clean it cuts. You can choose the light or the dark. And I'm just gonna line up. This is one of my favorite ones. I think it's on art booking, but I will double check that and reference that in the notes for you. But it is one of my favorite banners in all of Close to My Heart's Cricut cartridges. I just love it. Okay, so we're gonna pull these off. And this is gonna go in the top corner. So you can decide if you want it to angle from the corner like this, or if you want it to go up more like this. I chose to do mine more like that, but again, totally up to you how you want to do it. So we're going to come back with our flowers that we did before, and in my next segment, I'm going to actually show you how we can color these. This one I'm going to kind of put down here, and I think I have one left over. It feels like it's supposed to go somewhere, but you know, I might have included one extra. So we're going to just set that aside. Okay, so then you're gonna come back and you should have 2 hearts left from your stash and 1 banner. So the banner is gonna go up on the top. Again, if you're waiting for your photo, then just hold off and wait, no big deal. And the hearts, I'm gonna do both of them flat. So they're the same size. One is the blue, the sapphire blue, and one is the blue Belle. So you can switch them however you want. Again, you might want to decide after you've done your photograph how you want those to go, okay? So then we're just gonna come for our finishing touch, and we're gonna add a couple sequins at the top. Again, you can choose if you want them to be, you know, at an angle, if you want the little, the big. I think that there are so many opportunities to mix them up. Let's see if we can find a dark one. Okay, well, that's not dark, but that's okay. Here's a dark one now. So I'm gonna put this dark one down here. Now, I'm not gonna do the stickles on this one, but you could certainly do the stickles if you wanted. And just to complete this project, I'm gonna do one big one up here. And again, you can choose whichever color that you want to make it work. We can get them, they're all stuck together there. I'm gonna put one there. So I have 2 here. This is a gem and that's a sequin. I'm gonna add one more into the center of this heart because I think that just adds that extra finesse. Okay, there's a cluster down here. That's the one we were working on before. There's gonna be one kind of random all by itself down here at the bottom. And I like that because it kind of finishes, I guess, that triangle look of kind of going like this with your embellishments. And then again, there's 3 up here. So with that, we are actually done. You've completed the entire layout. So congratulations. I'm gonna pull both pieces back together so you can see them together. Again, you have your guide to reference, but this is what the layout should look like completed. If you have any questions when you are creating, if you get stuck, if you weren't sure of a piece, or if you have a piece that is torn, what have you, just shoot me an email at 𝐂𝐻𝐵sassiness@gmail.com, and I will be happy to help you. If you'd like the Cricut file, I can also give that to you as well that you can use, and I will also attach a list of all of the supplies used so that you can certainly go back. Now again, I do have an Expo special. Make sure to take note of that. All of those can be found on www.inallsassiness.com. Whatever you do, make it sassy. Hi, this is Tanya Sheridan, an independent consultant with Close to My Heart and from inallsassiness.com. So I wanted to come back with you and show you some ways that you can use the products that I featured in our Mega Make and Take in other artwork and other forms. So before I do that, I did want to review my show specials. If you make a $50 purchase, then you'll receive a free pack of glitter paper. If you make a $100 purchase, then you will receive the You Make Me Happy embellishment bundle that I talked about earlier. There's also 25% off special items in my shop, retired items, and some exclusive specials on some of the things that I've presented to you today. So those can all be found at www.inallsassiness.com. That takes you to a landing page where you can either go to the Close to My Heart site and order all of your Close to My Heart product, or you can go to my In All Sassiness design shop where you'll find my custom artwork, my class kits, as well as some of the specials and features that I have for you today. So the first thing that I wanted to show you has been my pride and joy over the past few weeks, and it features this beautiful glitter paper that we worked with earlier. And this is our new calendar. It is a new form to Close to My Heart, and it comes with papers. You get 14 pages of a very heavy cardstock weight, so it gives you a little bit of wiggle room for messing up if you mess up something. But I wanted to show you a few of the pages. And as you go through them, if you see a concept that you really like, most of these were inspired by layouts that I have designed and presented to you in the Scrapbook Expo format. So if you see one like this one that you like, you might want to check out my website, look for similar, and you'll see a layout that partners with that. So this is the January. It features the same colors that we've worked with today, the cute little snowman guy. March is one of my favorites. This one features the holographic paper, if you see as I turn it a little bit, as well as some of the glitter papers. I am a true Virginian, and we love cherry blossoms here. So April I did cherry blossoms. And again, you'll see that there is glitter paper on each of the pages, as well as kind of a bottom runner. This is May. You'll see again the holographic and partnering with the glitter paper. Of course, for July, we have an Americana feel. This one brings in some of the silver foil, so a different type of specialty paper, but still pairs very nicely with the glitter paper. For the September one, if you remember a few months ago, I did a beautiful layout called Balloons to Heaven. So you notice many of the same features and pieces are included here. October, we use our beautiful new holographic paper partnered with the black glitter, so hopefully you can catch that. And then that brings me back to November, which uses the colors that we featured today. So I wanted to show that to you. You can purchase this now in my shop as a set with the wooden frame as well as the pages, or you can purchase just the kit of the pre-cut pieces for you, so that if you wanted to use it with a different type of a calendar format, you certainly could. So that I wanted to show you first. The next thing that I wanted to share with you was some other artwork created with the same color palette, because I truly believe that once you create a color palette or find something that you like, it's very easy to adapt that to a smaller canvas or a larger canvas, depending. So these are two cards that I created with two of our thin cuts. This one is our bow thin cut. It is one of the easiest cards that you will make. I took the Bluebell and the Sapphire and then added white daisy glitter paper. Created my bows, attached them to a standard card, and you have a card that is very elegant. It would be great for a wedding. You could use it for Hanukkah, for Christmas, for so many different things, but I just love the simplicity of it. And of course you could make it fancier if you wanted to, but I really liked the simplicity of those bows. The second one that I did is using a similar thin cut, and it's a 3-part series. So you have different layers, and then you would have your base. All of these were cut out of our silver foil paper, which is here, and layered, and hopefully you can see all of that detail. Then I added this sapphire glitter paper in the form of a snowflake and a flourish, and added some of those bluebell sequins with the stickles inside. So I thought that this was a beautiful way to incorporate those and then add the silver that we so often see around the holiday season. So using that same palette, I created this layout. Now this one features these tiny intricate little flowers. Those are all cut out on the Cricut, and they were so simple to cut because our paper is just such a high quality. You'll notice I have just a little bit of the glitter paper coming through, and then I used the cardstock on this one to pull everything together. Again, it's a very simple layout to create, but just the glitter paper adds that touch of elegance and sophistication, in my opinion. And of course, I love the 3 little munchkins over here as well. Okay, so then that brings us to probably my favorite layout that I have created in the past few months, and it's my Make-A-Wish layout. So this one was designed and created for my Joys of the Season event, which is coming up this weekend actually. And the way that this is designed is, it is a box of layouts. You will receive 5 layout kits, 2 card projects, and 2 other 3D type projects, as well as a, random partridge in a pear tree, a few reindeer games, and some fun little treats and happies. So all of those collectively are $100. It all comes to you put together with all of your pieces divided, separated, detailed instructions, color photos, and all of that exciting things. So you can order this on my website at 𝐂𝐸𝐵𝐿sassiness.com. Again, it's called Joy of the Season Scrapbooking Celebration, and there will be a video segment for each of the projects. But this is the showcase. This is the one that I love absolutely the most. It's using ornaments cut out of the Cricut, again, out of the Bluebell and the Sapphire papers, as well as the loose sequins. And if you see those little details there, those are the Stickles that I talked about earlier. So this is the first of those layouts. I'm actually going to show you 3, give you a sneak peek of what the project looks like. And if you need me to, contact Santa, I'm more than happy to contact Santa and let him know that you want a Joys of the Season box for Christmas. So this one is bringing in those same colors, okay? The only difference on this one is I pulled in our new Serenity paper, and I picked up on the gold accents. So we added some gold foil to the layout and to create that same thing. So this is the second layout in the project series. And then I changed gears a little bit and did some more whimsical. So I thought those were beautiful for traditional Christmas, elegant Christmas. And this one would be a fun one for, kind of just fun, the fun side, the whimsical side of Christmas. So this is another layout design. One of the cool things about this paper is it has black and white on one side and a color print on the other. So if the trees are too whimsical for your taste, you can certainly flip it and use the other side, okay? So lots of fun. Love this layout. This again is number 3. There's a total of 5 layouts in the full project. And then I thought I would show you a couple of the cards, one of the card sets and one of the projects. So this is the book that is a 3D project. It's my Dear Santa book, and of course you could change the title. It doesn't have to be Santa related, but lots of fun. Each page has been Cricut cut for you. These are tags that actually come out of here, come out of the little pocket. Here you'll see I used the black onyx liquid pearl, and it is gorgeous as accents. It looks like little embellishments when it dries. It is so elegant. I love the way it adds to that. But lots of fun, a fun brag book. It'd be a great project to do at Thanksgiving with your kids or after Thanksgiving with your kids and so forth. So that is the book. And then if you remember, I said that there was 2 card projects. So this is one of them. So I talked about how this paper collection has black and white on one side and the whimsical colors on the other. So I took that in depth when I created the cards. And you'll see that I have one collection that is much more elegant, featuring the black and white parts, and then one that is more whimsical with the colors. You'll see the little reindeer and the stockings and so forth. So that again is one of the additional projects. So again, 5 layouts, 2 card projects, and 2 3D projects, all for $100, and then of course the cost of shipping. So I hope you will join me. I think it is going to be a wonderful weekend. All of the kits do include the instructions. Everything is pre-cut for you, except for maybe some photo mats, that type of thing. And you can go back and watch the videos over and over again. So it would certainly be something that, you know, Santa could bring down that chimney and you could do at a later date if you wanted to. So the last thing that I wanted to chat with you just a little bit before I show a demo is my VIP program. So Close to My Heart has just started a VIP program. It started earlier in October. And with that program, you purchase a membership for $35 and you'll receive a 15% discount back in product, in the form of product, for every purchase that you make. So this is kind of like your own little club. So if you register and join before the end of the year, then you'll actually get $25 back in product immediately after you sign up. So basically it's costing you $10. So I have, as a part of that, my own VIPs with SAS. I had to tie in that SAS that I would love for you to check out and to join us. I do have a small gift for anyone who would like to join, but the bigger impact is that I'll be teaching a class exclusively to this group once a month throughout the year. And this is, I wanted to show you, this is an example of the class that I did just this past week. It is on file with videos in my group, and so it'll stay there. So you can come back and watch them at your convenience or at your leisure. You can do the projects along with me. I give a supply list, or you can take the concepts and use it in other materials that you already have in your studio or your art room, etc. So I wanted to show you that because I thought it's a fun thing. This would also be a wonderful Christmas gift. But again, you can register, sign up at inallsassiness.com. Look for these graphics, and that will help direct you, to give you any VIP questions that you might have that I haven't answered. Or of course, you can reach out to me at inallsassiness@gmail.com. So the last thing that I wanted to do and share with you, I mentioned earlier that we had these fun little sequins that you guys used in your projects. And I'm going to use, this is the little case that we used for the storage of the hearts earlier, and I'm just using another use for it. But these flowers come in white, which is what you had today, as well as some colors. And of course the colors are beautiful, very rainbowish, very little girlish, but I wanted to be able to show you something else that you can do with them. So these are white, okay, and you can use your markers or certain markers to color them and change the tone. So these are the Spectrum Noir Metallic, but regular Spectrum Noir works well as well. And you want to use the brush tip, and you're going to leave the flower right on the carrier sheet and use the brush tip and just cover that flower. Now it is on plastic, so I would leave the flower being plastic. I would leave them on the carrier sheet for a couple hours to make sure that they really, really dry well. Now this blue is the blue topaz, and of course it does not match what we are working on today. It clashes actually, but I wanted to show you the color that you could create. The one that I really, really love is the silver on these flowers. And I know you can't see it unless we zoom in really well, but it completely changes that white color to a metallic silver. And I think that that would look so elegant with the bluebell and the sapphire that we've created today. So I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. I hope that you have learned lots of new tips and information that you can take into your other projects. Again, you can find me at www.inallsassiness.com. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Stay safe, and whatever you do, make it sassy.